In light of Miss Rona, the boys at BGO Pod have adapted a virtual platform to conduct and record interviews with this season's very special opinionated people, or VSOPs for short.
We thank you for bearing with any technical difficulties in advance. This pandemic has been raggedy, but in spite of, the conversations we've had with our VSOPs have been refreshing and were well worth the technical struggle.
This episode is also brought to you by Anchor. If you haven't heard already, Anchor is the easiest way to start your podcast.
Big facts. 1, it's free. 2, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your track straight from your phone or computer.
3, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many, many more. And 4, you can make money with no limited listenership.
It's everything you need for a podcast in one place. Carlton and I have been using Anchor for a few months now, and we're a bit obsessed.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Don't wait, honey. Your future listeners are waiting.
Now, enjoy the show.
You have reached the voicemail box of
Carlton Taylor
And Sean Brinkley.
We are unable to answer the phone right now.
So either fuck off or enjoy the show.
Ain't a period.
I wish I could drink.
No, you don't.
After a day like today,
Drink some water.
that shit don't do nothing for me.
Drink
It
72 fluid ounces.
It hydrates my cells, but it does not hydrate my soul.
Yeah.
I think alcohol is the water for the soul.
That's saying a lot. God damn.
Because sometimes you just need like a woo,
Right.
or like a ah.
Right. Yeah, you know what? I got all them sound effects, and I feel like everybody that's listening that's ever been drunk feels it too.
Yeah, like sometimes alcohol just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because, like, you'll be down in the dumps, right? And you'll be on a trip that you know you got to enjoy because you spent all this money on it. Or you're about to go out and everybody's, upbeat, and you're just like, bitch, I don't feel like it. But, like, it's been several times where I've, like, pre-gamed before the pre-game.
Right. No, that's what I always do. That's ritual for me.
Yeah, so, like, I'll get out the shower, and, like, out in the shower, I'm listening to, like, Beyonce, Rihanna,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, some twerk me, some K-Stylist,
Right,
you know what
right,
I'm
right,
saying,
right,
them
right,
franchise
right.
boys. And then I get out,
You such a hood rat.
And
Them
I take me-
franchise boys.
child, I ain't no hood rat, I'm just from East Atlanta, that's
You
all.
East Atlanta showing.
East Atlanta suburbs, girl. I ain't from Candler. I'm from Flash Hills Parkway.
Oh my
It's a difference.
Oh my goodness.
They run into each other though. Literally, it's the same road.
Right. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I get out the shower and I take me a good old gulp or something,
Yeah.
and then I wait about 15 seconds,
And then you do it again.
and I'm just, yes, let's get it. What we got to get into? And then around like 3 hours later, I start to crash, and then it's not fun no more.
Yeah.
But I'm also an introvert, so it's that too.
Yeah. That.
I've exerted a lot of energy
That'll
tonight. I just want to go to my
definitely
bed.
drain the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
That's
most
very
definitely.
similar to me though, cause like I sort of like to be there when other people are getting there,
Yeah.
and I think that's how like when I was in college, like I really, cause I would end up, basically I would end the night being sober as fuck, and I think I did that because I would usually have to get up the next morning and do something productive.
Yeah.
So like I would end up drinking. I'd be like, basically I would time my drunkenness to the point where like as soon as I walk in the club, that's like my littest motherfucking point of the night. That's the littest point of the night. But I also time myself getting into the party or the function or whatever,
Yeah.
where it's right about to hit its peak.
Yes.
And then I'm lit as fuck, and then the party about to be lit as fuck, and then I just ride it on out with the party. But you know where it fucks me up? When people be passing me shit.
Yes.
And I continue to drink after that point. That's when the night ends horribly. Either you're crying somewhere or like
Yes.
sleep in your car. I done slept in my car a couple of times, but ain't no shame in my game.
Have I slept in my car because I was lit? I don't think so.
You
I've
know,
slept in places. Well, I take that back. I think I've slept in the back sleep in the back
You
anyway
sleep in the
in the
sleep
black
in the seat in the back.
Yeah, I
In
was
the back
asleep in the
sleep.
back. I was in the back of my sleep, honey. Child, what the fuck? It's been a long day, but I was asleep. Long story short, I was asleep in my car. Goodness, girl, you gotta do what you gotta do though.
Yeah.
Because DUIs ain't cute. Even though you can technically get a
By
a
sleeping in
DUI
your
by
car.
sleeping in your car.
Yeah.
So that's why I slept in the back seat.
You know, there was one time, Carlton, I was so drunk. And I didn't drive or nothing that night, but somehow, some way, and I don't know how I did this. I still got the Snapchat too. I'm gonna have to show it to you after we finish recording. But basically, it was Christiana's birthday, and this was
Christiana's birthday coming up, ain't it?
It already passed.
Oh shit! When was it?
Right before my sister's birthday, the day before, September 2nd.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was October.
That's the only reason
she
I
strikes
do
me for a
remember.
Libra.
No, she Virgo status.
Well,
So-
yeah, okay.
Same thing.
Potato,
LOL.
potato.
But no, drunk as fuck. I rode because I lived on campus all 4 years or whatever. So someone was driving her car and she had a car full of people, and this was back when she had her Explorer. So car full of people, somebody was driving her car. I'm in the trunk.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got back there, but whatever. I'm in the trunk. They let me out right at the bottom right in front where the RD apartment is. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Let me get my black ass on.
Yeah.
I pee in the bushes around the corner because I had to piss. I could not wait.
Could not wait.
And then that's where I recorded the snap. And the only reason I'm able to piece this together is because how I'm going to get to it. So at some point, me walking up the stairs, lived on the 3rd floor, I lost my keys and my keys were on the steps. So I got to my door, me being drunk as fuck. I'm like, where are my keys? I'm locked out of my apartment.
Jesus.
And it's just something about being so drunk where you like, fuck it. And you give up on everything.
Yeah.
You give up on everything that you have to offer. So I took my shoes off, and it was, it was around this time. It was September, so I had me a little hoodie, and I bundled up. I put my arms in my sleeves, and I took my ass to sleep right outside that door.
I remember that.
So next day, speaking, you can hear him in the background.
Girl, y'all got him.
What happens the next day? I don't. Somehow, one way or another, I get inside the house. No.
What happened?
This is what happened.
Okay.
Somebody thought I was dead. in
Whoa,
front of the door.
Sean, I did not know that.
Somebody thought I was dead, so they called the police. The police proceeds to wake me up, and they were like, "Sir, are you okay?" And I was like, "I just got locked out of my." And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the inner black man in me, just like, I don't know. I couldn't get inside my apartment last night, and I'm going through a lot right now, and and I just went to sleep outside my apartment. But if you could let me in my apartment, I'd appreciate it. They let me in, and then from that point, I get inside. Cause once the police are called, the police automatically notify the RD who's on call for the campus. Mm-hmm. So I get inside my apartment, and I still don't have my shit at this point. I was like, you know what? I'm still drunk as fuck, basically. Mm-hmm. So I get inside. I was like, I'm gonna deal with all this shit later. Like, I'm gonna find my keys, my phone, like everything. Cause I couldn't even call the RA on call when I got to the door because my phone and my keys were on the stairs. Like, literally right up I don't know how. I think I sat down and I was like talking to myself or something. I don't know. I was on one of my drunk charades, but you know how you just crash and burn. So 5 minutes later, the RD on call, who happened to be my mentor at the time, and the RA on call answered, and they were like, "Hey, is everything okay?" I was like, And they were like, "Yeah, we got a call from the police saying, that someone was sleeping outside. Was that you?" And I was like, And they was like, "Okay, well, here's your keys and your phone." And I was like, And I just,
Were you in housing at this point?
this was sophomore year. So I was in housing, but I wasn't a RA yet.
Okay.
So like I had the programming board.
Yeah.
This was like my little break. And then I think this wasn't sophomore year. This was junior year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it was junior year. Was it junior year? It was either sophomore or junior year. I think it was junior year because I think it was right before I went online. But I was in housing because I was RHA.
Oh shit, that was the same. Oh my god, this story is coming back because that was the same semester you came and visited me at Southern.
Yep, that same year.
Yep.
Yeah.
You weren't an RA yet? You weren't RA.
No, I was in RHA. I was director of programming for Residence Hall Association, and that fall, and then that following spring, I was an RA. Cause I was DOP for community council freshman year, and then sophomore year I wasn't nothing. Ran for DOP for Residence Hall Association. Did that for a semester, became an RA for the rest of my years.
Oh, so you were a RA. You were a spring hire.
Yes.
Okay,
I was a mid-year.
Yes.
But I was
remember that.
always around, so like people just like, "You've been an RA for years," and I was like, "No."
Yeah, that because Sean.
That was your first year, wasn't it? At CL.
No, that was my second.
You were CL sophomore year.
I was.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was at Kennedy and Suites, and then I went to Kennedy, the apartment side.
Ooh, Kennedy. I forgot.
And then
about
I
that.
stopped. I wasn't an RA my senior year. You were though. Yeah, that makes sense because you moved into your apartment that you just left from for your final semester,
Yeah.
which was fall semester of 2018.
Yep.
Yep, it's making sense. Yeah, because so to offer context, y'all, because Sean and I have been into our personal lives. Sean and I actually got involved in housing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It was our first semester of college, period.
Yeah.
And that's when you became director of programming for, not RHA, was it your hall?
It was my community council.
Yeah, his community council. And I was co-director of programming for my residence hall. And so through all of that, we stayed in housing. Because even when I wasn't in housing, I was in housing the whole time. Like, I was a CA. So I went from being like, not the head honcho, because that's the RD, but I went from being like a RA, CL, which is what they called it, community leaders at Georgia Southern, to CA, which was a community assistant that just worked at the desk and clocked in and clocked out, period.
Relatable.
Yeah. And so Sean and I have overlapped. That's why we were trying to figure out. I was like, what was that?
It's all a blur.
It is a blur, but I mean,
Because there's so many crazy stories where it's like.
So many. And the way, like, you came to visit me at Southern, Courtney came to visit me at Southern. Now, I don't know if that was the same time where we were having the clowns and Kiana was, like, freaking out.
Yeah.
And had you freaking out because you didn't know what the fuck you was about to come into, what type of territory.
Yeah, that was a lot for me.
You were already coming to bumblefuck. You were going from one bumblefuck to another bumblefuck.
Semester.
That was the same semester?
That was that same semester.
But that was later.
Maybe like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, oh my God. Yes, because Sean, you were sleeping in your car that day.
I was tired.
I came outside.
That wasn't from the alcohol, though.
Sean just be asleep. Key too. My best friend just be asleep. It's
Because
okay.
I had drove down there.
Yes, you drove down there, and I remember approaching your car because that's when you was in Casablanca.
And you was like, I need you to move. Come on, Casablanca.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that was my baby.
Child, yeah, she's better than BB.
No.
That gutted hoe. BB had no innards. she was just a shell.
She
that rolled.
abandoned me just like my first boyfriend.
Damn. Same. Change it, the same thing.
Oh my goodness.
But that's why she was called BB.
Look, broken bitch.
Broken bitch. And I called my bitch Change. Because she was a change in my life and she sounded like it.
It's been a long time coming, but I know.
Change go come.
And she barely did.
And she barely did. She took a sweet ass time. But she came and then it was the time she didn't come. She blew up on my ass.
Oh my goodness.
We talked about that last season about car issues.
Oh my God.
Ain't it crazy?
Yes.
My Jesus. Okay, where we at on time?
We're doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm good. Today has been interesting. This week has been interesting. I've had a lot of revelations. Following our conversation on Sunday about religion with Sherry.
Yeah.
And I mean, there haven't been revelations with religion because I still feel the same way I did. Period. Period. But it definitely about grad school. And so I was just on the phone with my mother talking to her about my plan. I was like, I don't have everything ironed out yet, but I'm not trying to go until next fall. And this is what I'm thinking. This is how I think I'm going to be able to pay for it. This is how I think I'm going to be able to position myself to tackle this and do so debt free. And so, for what it's worth, that conversation was really good. And my thought process leading up to our conversation right now has been really good. Like you see behind me, I have my whole timeline and schools that I'm considering. And I've realized, like, I'm really excited about this. I don't think I've been excited about nothing like this in a very long periodically time.
Periodically.
And school makes me, it generates something. Because I think I really miss being in academia. And you don't have to go to an institution to be involved in academics. But I really miss that professional development type space because my job right now doesn't invest in that for employees. They're okay with employees being average and settling.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I'm a bad bitch, and bad bitches don't settle. Period. And so I'm really just excited to get back into a space with people who are either going to be open-minded or not open-minded, and I have to sit here and convince them to be open-minded about certain things, especially in what I'm considering about studying, because it's going to take a lot of people being open-minded.
Yeah.
And I'm going to work against the grain a lot. And I think that's what's needed in order for change to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for this. I don't know what it all is going to mean, but I know BGO is going to be very helpful in pushing that narrative and pushing me toward that goal. And some other things like my involvement in the Gay Men's Chorus and just me having conversations like this, having conversations that we've been having with our guests this season is going to be very beneficial and all of that.
Yeah.
And just having conversations in general, because people are scared to talk.
Yep.
They get uncomfortable. I'm like, what you uncomfortable about? You're human.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in a pretty good space. I'm not going to talk about shit else because everything else is still the same. But yeah, that's where I'm at. How about you?
I'm making it. Today has been heavy. I think this week has been heavy because I'm just getting back in the office from my break last week. And it wasn't really a break because I was still working from home. But I don't know. It's just been a lot. I got a couple more things before I can really sort of take a back seat to things at my job. So it's funny that you talk about professional development because we have quote-unquote professional development today at my job, but that didn't go how they thought it was planned. But I'm not gonna get too much into that because that's tea. But ironically enough, I was already feeling like just drained from work and really feeling like the work that I do just doesn't matter because people are gonna sort of do what the fuck they want to do. But then and this is because you know how I had started talking to you about 13 Reasons Why or whatever. So I was watching it in my by time at work today while I was like typing up some emails and stuff. And of course, God always be working like this in my life. I don't know why. I don't know what the reason. Maybe because I can handle it. But as soon as I started watching 13 Reasons Why, my mom hit me up today with some stuff. So I'm just like, what the fuck? About my sister and her going through some things. So I'm just like, I don't know. Sometimes I just can't.
No, that's valid.
I really just can't. And I'm not sure if this is like me being selfish just in my life at this point, but like I be so mentally drained from myself and dealing with how I be feeling when it starts getting into other people and that stuff. I'm just like I can't even begin to process. And when it comes to my mom, her being like really relying on me for support sometimes, I just be like,
I ain't got it in me.
I'm an ear to listen, but I don't. So that's where I am.
Well, how was 13 Reasons Why? Was it everything that I told you it would be?
I was chilling at first. I was chilling, and then episode 1 ended, and I was like, "What the fuck, Hannah? What the fuck? Like, what?
Remind me of what was going on. It's been a second.
I think it ended
Because every season was so drastically different.
I think episode 1 ended with like that dickhead she kissed or whatever or fucked or
Bryce.
Yeah, not Bryce. Justin or
oh yeah.
And don't tell me what happened because I'm not watch it.
No, I literally can't. We don't have enough time for that. You have to watch it.
Oh my goodness. But freaking her picture got sent around, her on a slide or whatever, and then what's his name? Is his name Corey? Clay? It's Clay.
Clay.
He looked like a piece of clay.
You sound like what Kadeem say? Oh, he was trying to he was mixing up Clay with Kurt from Glee.
Oh Lord.
I said, girl, 2 different names.
But Clay is basically like running around and freaking out now. He's like, why am I on the tape? Why am I on the tape? So that's where we are.
Child.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot.
So I don't know if I need to finish.
I don't know. That is up to your discretion. Just know I'm here for you if you need anything.
You sound like the people before the episode.
Oh, so they did do it. Maybe
I think they went back and added stuff to it. Because they definitely hit me with the, if you were struggling with it. I was like, all right, y'all better be gearing me up for this.
Shut, I told you. I told your black ass. But no, we can have more conversation as you get deeper into it.
Yeah.
I'm watching Girlfriend, so it's like a whole different level.
Right.
And I saw this tweet yesterday that had me so weak. It was this picture of DW, and she looked sleep deprived. And next to it, the captions, the tweet said, only 10 more minutes. And it was a picture of DW, and the next picture was the opening, like, frame to Girlfriends.
People play too.
No, I was triggered because literally it's 2:00 and I stumbled across this and I was like, read me. Because I told my ass I was going to be asleep yesterday at 11:30. And guess what? I wasn't.
That's how it be.
I was not asleep at 11:30.
No, that's how it really be.
And so that's what I'm watching. It's not giving me nearly as much because I was watching some heavy shit.
Right.
Like, here's Glee. Every episode of Glee, crying. Because I love music. Music is like, Music is how I worship. Music is how I vent. Music is how I express myself sometimes. And I literally, in Glee, they just hit on shit.
Yeah, they do.
And I just and then they find the perfect song to make it work. And I just be like, fuck y'all.
You typically feel better by the end of the episode. They try to bring it full circle.
And it's usually a happy cry, but damn it, I'm still crying. And it's not like I'm sobbing. Like, usually it's something that, I'm very empathetic. If people around me are crying, I'm going to cry. Even if I'm not sad about what they're sad about, I'm going to cry because I don't like when humans around me feel down. Like, it really hurts my feelings because I feel like I do everything in my power to make people feel good about themselves, which is hard when people don't want to feel good about themselves and make you feel shit, and you have to make them feel worse about themselves because they made you feel shit because they had you fucked up. Yeah. But I really, like, even after I read somebody and make them feel like shit, I feel bad because I don't like people feeling that way. And we talked about this yesterday.
Right.
We're genuine people and we want people to feel good about themselves. But you got me bent backwards.
Right.
If you think this ain't survival of the emotionally fittest. Like, bitch, you can kiss my ass.
Right.
But at the same time, I compared it to when your mama beat your ass and then come into the room and tell you that the food's ready.
Yes.
So that's where I'm at. But yeah, honey, I get it. Let me know how 13 Reasons Why works for you. Girlfriends is going great. Maya get on my nerves because she's cheating on her husband. Spoilers.
Is she really?
Yes. But she's cheating on her husband with a man who basically had a piece of pickle in his mouth when it was kissing. She was completely disgusted. So she cheated on her husband. Joan is just trying to make the best out of being single. William just got left at the altar. Tony is done found herself in the Lord after she was this close to getting rid of Joan. These are all spoilers, y'all. I don't care if y'all ain't listened to it. Y'all can speed up. And then, plus, this shit been out for over a decade. Y'all can kiss my ass. And then Lan's character gets on my nerves. But this was the character where her sister, her white sister, because Lynn, like I said, she's adopted by white people. Her sister came in. They was at Peaches and them. They was at whatever the name, Situations, the name of their hair salon. And she got up, she got her hair done. She said, "Nigga." She was she was singing a song.
She did not.
And her white ass said, "Nigga." Oh. And then she left the restaurant and Lan's trying to tell her why she wrong because everybody mad. Hairstylist got hot combs in her head, ready to burn this bitch.
Like, oh, you got me fucked up.
Right. It was like, what? She said, what Peaches said? Peaches said, what type of situation you brought up in Situations? Anyway, it was funny when he said it. But they outside. And
Black people are too...
And no, Sean, they are in Crenshaw because the show is based in L.A.
Right.
So they're in Crenshaw.
And she just yelling nigga.
And she just, white girl, getting her hair cornrowed, talking about singing a song. And the editing was perfect because literally, like, the song cut off as soon as she said nigga. And all the people in the restaurant say, all their heads oscillate. I'm sure a bitch went 270.
And I know, because this was 2008, right?
2008, yeah. Ish,
I know the scene was just so dramatic.
Yes!
Because all of the black sitcoms, movies,
yes!
when any type of shit happened like that, it was like a squirt! Like, it just...
Yes!
Like,
yes.
Dramatic as fuck.
Yes.
So I know they broke their fucking neck.
They did. They did. And so Lynn is outside with her sister. She said, what? I said nigga. I didn't say ER, but she said the word.
Right.
And I was like, hold the fuck up. And she said, you don't... Because no, her sister is like a, I don't like thinking of it like this, but I know some black people say it like this. Like white people who are obsessed with black culture.
Yeah.
And so like they wear dashikis and they adopt black children and they travel around Africa.
and they fuck black men and all that other stuff.
They fuck white men.
Black men.
But yeah, they fuck black men. Yeah, black women, all that stuff. She was that type of white character. Because I don't necessarily agree with white people that just like, if a white person likes white culture, like that's, as long as they're not doing nothing problematic.
Yeah, like saying nigga.
right, because that's, she was like, you crossed the line, and that was the whole thing. Like, bitch, you crossed the line, because Maya was fucking with her. Maya was like, oh, this is a white girl. It's a lot of white girls in Crenshaw that act like her, but they don't say nigga or er. Yeah. She was like, it's just a word. It don't even mean the same thing no more. Bitch, shut up. Anyway, they checked it in the show, which is something I'm starting to appreciate about Girlfriends, is the conversations that they explore.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like some of the narrative is problematic. We were talking about this yesterday. We were talking about it on Sunday with the trans comment, but we were talking about this in our FaceTime call yesterday, because, you know, Sean and I talk all the time. And literally was like, you know, it seems crazy, but this is how people actually are.
Yeah.
People are actually this ignorant. And it probably feels weird to the actors and actresses too when they're saying this stuff and having to basically regurgitate these words that they don't necessarily agree with.
Yeah.
But for the sake of communicating that message and knowing the impact that media has on society, they saw it as something they saw it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
And then we went on to our conversation about social responsibility, and how when you're having conversations about suicide and things like that, that you need to be a little bit more courteous, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah.
That's where I am. All right, y'all. So we're gonna dive into this week's topic. We're going to.
We need to take a break first.
Well, yeah, we're gonna do that after we.
Okay,
I was just diving into the description.
Okay, my bad.
So we're gonna take a break, and then we're going to introduce this outro to Religion, honey.
Yes.
So stay tuned. In light of Miss Rona, the boys at BGO Pod have adapted a virtual platform to conduct and record interviews with this season's very special opinionated people, or VSOPs for short.
We thank you for bearing with any technical difficulties in advance. This pandemic has been raggedy, but in spite of, the conversations we've had with our VSOPs have been refreshing and were well worth the technical struggle.
This episode is also brought to you by Anchor. If you haven't heard already, Anchor is the easiest way to start your podcast.
It's everything you need for a podcast in one place. Carlton and I have been using Anchor for a few months now, and we're a bit obsessed.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Don't wait, honey. Your future listeners are waiting.
Now, enjoy the show.
Y'all be back.
Oh, that was a fun little
break.
Little breakdown memory lane.
Yeah, we
had fun in college.
We did.
It was fun. I mean, we have fun now.
Yes.
But that was unnecessary fun.
I don't think it was unnecessary.
The shit we did was unnecessary.
That is true. I think it was appropriate.
Yes.
For us being college students. I think we could have been a little bit more,
I think it served its purpose. I remember I woke up outside my apartment with my drawers off one time. Like, I had my shirt and everything on, and my pants and my drawers were off.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is, I think I could have been a little bit more raunchy. But you just put the icing on top with that one.
Yeah,
I was not raunchy at all in college. But I'm not a raunchy person. Not saying that you are, but
I'm raunchy.
Like, I had three consistent sex partners. Not consistent as in like I was fucking them at the same time, but I had one was my boyfriend, and that was as consistent as it could have been because he was in DeKalb, I was in Bullock. Another one was just a friends with benefits. Another one was somebody that I dealt with heavy after the friends with benefits and the boyfriend was over. I wasn't dealing with the friends and benefits of the boyfriend at the same time. That's cheating. Just so you know.
Clarification.
But clarification, asterisk, disclaimer. But my senior year, I was dealing with somebody heavy. And I mean, I wasn't dealing with him heavy. I was just sexually involved with him heavy.
Meanwhile, I'm just getting my back blown out in my back seat.
not in the back seat.
Yes.
So I was asleep while Sean was...
Pew, pew, pew. What y'all call it? Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up.
Whatever.
Bullock.
Bullock.
Bullock County.
We did not ever say Bullock.
Bullock.
We said Bullock County.
Bullock County. Blow me back out.
I was asleep in Bullock, and he was getting his back blown in Cobb. Cobb, Fulton.
Let's get into our topic because they are not about to play with us today. We are something serious today.
I'm coining this. This episode funny as fuck. Usually I'm more humble than that, but this episode is hilarious.
We've been cracking up since we started.
We have. Meanwhile, we about to go into this. Okay,
Serious.
y'all ready for this?
Do. I'm so sorry.
Our audience is like, clock out for me, baby. Clock out.
Clock out.
Clock out for me, baby. So, religion.
Yes.
Our conversations have been so good
Yeah.
surrounding it. And was Sherry our first female
Yeah.
VSOP for the season?
No, Sasha was.
Sashay. Sorry, Sashay, girl. I know you listening to this. You like, bitch, I know.
Motherfucker.
Sashay definitely was, but she, okay, so I'll address it like this. I think that we got really rounded answers from both of our guests because it was Nick and Sherry.
Yeah.
And Sherry came from an academic, kind of like a devil's advocate, kind of like not necessarily in the way that she was.
She put
being-
perspective on
Yes.
a lot of things.
Yes.
Just a lot of things that we've talked about.
Right. So she brought a different angle. And then Nick took more of a personal route. Because Sherry, I'm not going to speak to her identity because that's for her to speak on. But Sherry, being who Sherry is, she didn't really talk about who she was per se in these spaces.
Yeah.
I mean, she did, but it wasn't to the depth that Nick did.
Right.
And Nick's conversation probably would have went very well with our initial conversation, while Sherry kind of offered. Well, Nick and I have had conversations, so Nick was that for you.
Mm-hmm.
But Sherry offered some type of insight and a different way of like people's approach to what religion is and
Right.
the institution, and how religion is the basis for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And we've realized this with our subtopics is that all of them kind of are how they just all just melt
Integrate.
into each other.
Yeah. And influence either one or the other,
Right. Right.
or influence how people approach the other
Yeah.
topic or whatever.
Yeah. So what were your biggest takeaways?
Whew. And people are probably tired of me hearing it, I said tired of me hearing it. Jesus. Tired of hearing me say it because, I mean, we've talked about it at least 3 different times at this point. Definitely for Nick. Actually, something else is sticking out to me now. I think when he said, he used the term demonic doctrine?
Yes.
Was that it?
Mm-hmm.
This utilizing the word or religion or just that ideology that we established, not the institution, to shame people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that concept is rooted in so many things, and I think a lot of it stems from religion,
Mm-hmm.
because we get to, say we start speaking about other things that technically aren't socially acceptable. Like, I can sit here and say that, being black to white people, that's not socially acceptable to them.
Right. They want everything to be white.
Right. But you think about the context. I mean, bringing in Sherry's whole academic perspective, you think about the context, and I think I said this the first episode, like,
I'm sure you did.
in our intro. You think about the actual context of, and I'm talking about Christianity right now, but a lot of these spearheads in religion, those were the same people who were like oppressing people. And I just want people to stop doing fucked up shit off of like good spirits, or not necessarily good spirits, but good
intent, maybe. Like, they have good intent, but it just comes off as fucked up.
It's not even that. It's just they know the intent is good, but they try to use it for negativity or fucked up shit.
Oh, so like repurposing.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And I mean, that may be a huge thing in fighting a lot of the battles that we encounter today. Really challenging people and where they get their ideologies from. Is like, all right, are you really feeling this way? Or are you having something that's... No, I'm gonna even back up on that a little bit. I'm gonna stick with, from Nick, using that demonic doctrine to shame people for stuff that they really shouldn't feel bad about. Because I just think those behaviors transfer over into other parts of society. So definitely when it comes to pop culture, definitely when it comes to social justice, like, oh, you shouldn't be advocating for that. Like, religion plays a huge part in how we sort of see ourselves in those roles that we talked about. Sherry hit on a lot. And granted, we hit her with a lot,
right?
Like
we
with our questions,
with a bag of bricks,
right?
Sherry was like, "Fuck. Guys."
But based off her whole focus in grad school on her approach to religion, I think a lot of people could benefit from taking that approach. Stepping outside of your personal beliefs and your personal ideology, and looking at how this construct, because it's a construct at the end of the day, looking at how this construct affects race, how it affects sexuality, how it affects these different facets of not only your life, but the people's lives around you. We can see so much. And I don't even think black people, it was so powerful when she said, when we asked her the difference between spirituality and like being religious and being spiritual, like what's the difference? Like, I don't even think black people tend to notice that they push towards I'm spiritual because of some type of oppression. And if they sat and stepped out of the context of religion and just approached it from, all right, I'm going to see how this impacts things, they would actually realize, like, oh shit. And may start picking up on a lot of the roles and ideologies and whatever else that's problematic that ends up affecting them negatively. I think we're almost blinded by the intersection.
Right. We're torn. A lot of people are torn.
Right.
Sherry even said that she was torn.
Yeah.
With her purity and her religion. And I think that's very common across a lot of things. Like,
yeah,
we'll have conversations with family members who are just like, I support you and I love you. I just don't know how to navigate this space. I just don't know what this is. And I'm like, is it that you don't know what it is, or you just What's confining you into this space?
But it's that fork in the road that we talked about. I think people choose not to.
And you're correct. I agree with that. I think people are just like, because it's that idea of, oh yeah, you're gay and I love you, but we're not going to tell anybody else about it. Or yeah, you're gay, but don't be too gay
Yeah.
because that makes me uncomfortable. And I love that Sherry was basically like, that's homophobic. And it is. It is. People think, and I've heard some really fucked up interpretations of folks saying, well, I'm not as scared of gay people. I just don't agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and what in this? So for me, it's like, why are you so pressed? Why, if you don't agree and it's not affecting you and how you love, why does it bother you so much? Why are you struggling with this idea that you just don't agree with?
I mean, but their argument, they take it back to the text, and they take it back to.
But no,
This is-
that's you being afraid to think otherwise. That's you being afraid to not use your brain to think for yourself. I mean, let's think about it. The Bible wasn't written by Jesus or God. Let's just be frank. That was not written down by neither one of them.
Yeah.
People were told or ordained, and I'm using air quotes, ordained, or they had this inkling to come together and make this text. But the teachings of Christ that are highlighted in red don't ever spew anything of hate.
Yeah.
Or ever spew eating anything that would make anybody think of him as anything other than forgiving, omnipotent, all-knowing, loving, supportive. Like, Christ healed so many people. He didn't care what they did. He was just here to heal folk.
Yeah.
And they turned around and crucified his ass. For what? And so for you to use this doctrine and to spin it on his head and tell me that I'm not human, it's wrong. It's not right. It's not like Christ. And I think it's very interesting because so I didn't bring this up, but I remember seeing this. I was listening to Angelica Ross. She plays Candy on Pose. And she's a gorgeous black trans woman, very strong, and I feel confident in that because that's how she presents herself. Mm-hmm. And she was having a conversation because she's Buddhist. And she was saying how she was inspired by Tina Turner's journey in Buddhism. And she was having a conversation with, I want to say, a Christian priest or a Christian I'm not sure of who he was specifically, but he basically talked about the difference between, he talked about people who follow Christ and how somehow, some way, like Christians, you hear about Christians and you think about people who follow Christ, but he made this difference between people who follow Christ and people who are Christian. And like, he basically was like, people who are Christian tend to, and I'm not saying this as if this is how I'm thinking, because I still identify as Christian. Mm-hmm. But I identify as Christian as someone who truly follows Christ, that doesn't Bible beat, that doesn't, take the Bible literally.
Live how he lives.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I have conversations with him. I sit down and I realize, I try to think through what I'm feeling, and I really work through that stuff, and I try to live based off of his teachings of love and wholeness, and through his sacrifice and through God's sacrifice by allowing his one and only son to come to earth and literally die for our sins. Like, I lived through that. Mm-hmm. And for what it's worth, I believe in those things. And he differentiated people. He was like, people who follow Christ do that. People who just claim Christian tend to, and it's not always the case, but he was like, I found that people who are just Christian don't necessarily live by Jesus's doctrine. They just kind of, and this is not all the time, I'm going to keep saying this because I don't want y'all to misconstrue anything that I'm saying and try to clip it. I'm putting on TMZ and some shit when I blow up. But it's to what you're saying. People are just, And I mean, to what Nick was saying too, it becomes a demonic doctrine. People sit around and try to tell you or use something that's supposed to empower you to make you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's not what Christ was about.
I just really hate, because I mean, me and you know, I think we had a very holistic education. Not only through our personal experiences and our parents teaching us things, but we constantly had educators who, this is what happened. Like, this is history. This is your blackness. This is how we ended up where we are now. So I naturally came to a lot of the things that Sherry talked about already. Like, I always had this idea that, you know, we talk about being black and Christian, but what does that even mean?
Yep.
You know, they stripped us away from everything that we had when they took us off them ships.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we sit here and follow something that honestly was used to oppress us?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm wise enough to see the beauty in all religion, and I see the beauty in the religion that I follow, being Christian and all that other stuff. And I don't know if I'm a Christian or whatever, but I believe in God and I believe in Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to see through it and follow the ideology and have that be my sort of guiding morale, but I'm also not wrapped up in the rhetoric and the institution and the, what is it called?
I'm sure there's a word for it.
I want to say gender roles, but it's not gender roles. I mean, that's a part of it, but the roles associated with the religion and what has came from years of oppression. Because if we can sit and look at the roles of black women and black men and black kids through all these generations, those shits were formed from the fact that we had to make a way.
You said ships or shits?
Shits.
Okay. Just making
Not ships, Lord. Shits.
I was just making sure I heard that correctly, because I was like, okay. Yeah. Excuse me, I didn't even clean my sinuses in the mic.
We adapted to survive.
Yes.
And now that the world, the world was trying to get some decorum about itself, but we got President Goldfish and Pinhead Pence in there.
That's new. I haven't heard that. Facts.
We got people like him. And I was reading something today. This probably goes a little off topic, but I mean, they all integrate some shape or form. But the surface level stuff that Trump is doing is problematic, but it's really the shit that he's doing underneath that he's not really talking about, because apparently he's been trying to push a pro-American doctrine. And basically there's already a lack of accurate history of our nation in the textbooks. But what he's trying to do, because his ideology is like, Americans shouldn't be ashamed of who they are. And it's like, okay, I think I hear you, but if Americans are proud of being racist pigs and killing black people and other minorities and oppressing folks and burning churches down and
Well,
what are we talking about here?
The problem is that ain't American. Because if we really want to establish some type of doctrine, let's acknowledge the Americans that were forced to be Americans because they were brought over here and built this bitch from the bottom up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that doctrine. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, but you have things like that are constantly pushing, and people just get further and further away from stepping back. Further and further away, because I mean they trying to get it in the kids at this point, because the whole pro-American doctrine they're trying to is rooted around the glorious history of America.
Yeah, that's very on brand. It's very on brand for that patriarch that patriot. What the fuck is the word?
Patriotic.
Patriotic.
Not patriarchy, but
Yeah,
I mean,
my
same
bad.
shit.
I'm being shit.
It's patriotic.
Yeah.
Patriotic patriarchy.
That whatever the adjective for patriot is, it's very on brand. And I mean, I feel like other presidents have probably done the same shit, or at least other people in power have done the same shit. Because you look at our textbooks. Our textbooks don't talk about the nitty gritty of the bullshit. Like, okay, I worked at a attraction at Disney World called the American Adventure that just conveniently didn't say shit about slavery. It mentioned Frederick Douglass, and it spoke so eloquently about how we needed freedom, but didn't mention, well, I think it mentioned black folk, but it wasn't as direct as...
It wasn't transparent.
It wasn't. It was this one, and they put this terrible ass wig on that damn animatronic. It was so bad. But it was literally, it showed Frederick Douglass in this handcrafted boat floating down this damn river talking about freedom. And that was it. Now, I'm sorry, but
not just Frederick Douglass.
Just Frederick Douglass. They didn't talk about what happened in Tulsa. They didn't talk about the civil rights movement. They didn't talk about nothing. And then they still had 3 white men that were narrating the show. It was Benjamin Franklin, the 2. Benjamin Franklin and Tom Sawyer. Was it Tom Sawyer? I think so. But 2 white men narrating the show about the history of America as if black folk didn't bring the shit up from the brinks. And so it's problematic. It's fucking problematic. That's where I'm at. We're not talking about religion no more. We kind of veer from it. Where we at?
I mean, it's all related.
It is all related. I mean, yeah, okay. Well, with you saying that, it was, that doesn't surprise me. But that's why Biden's going to be our next president. So, bloop. Hashtag Biden Harris. I had somebody on Twitter come at me today. I was talking about the bullshit that is the conviction of the one police officer that was involved with the Breonna Taylor murder.
They were tearing him up today, or the attorney general. They've been tearing him up for a long time.
Well, yeah, because he's a black man. He's not doing anything.
Yeah.
He needs to get his life together. But that ruling was bullshit. And I said something, and literally all I did was piggyback this guy who, let me see if I can find a damn tweet. I'm going to find a tweet. Y'all know how I am. Give me a second.
Lord bless him.
It should be here somewhere, though. Oh, wrong account.
Not the Born account.
No, it's another one.
Oh, I was about to say your place of employment.
Yep. I'm going to keep that out, too.
We could have... Who we?
Oh, wow. Nah, he, okay, anyway. So the guy who made the original tweet actually deleted it. So it was a headline that said, former detective Brett Hankinson, whatever, was indicted of 3 counts of first-degree water endangerment. Sergeant Jonathan, I don't know these people's names, and I don't care to know these white people's names. The Sergeant Jonathan was not indicted. Detective Miles Cosgrove was not indicted.
I thought it was indicted.
Indicted, yeah. Thank you. Indicted. Sorry, that's my East Atlanta education. So somebody said, I love how the stand your ground people now blame the boyfriend for shooting at the armed intruders in his home. And then some guy basically said something along the lines of, well, he shot back. Or it was something like, he shot first, which is a huge no-no, or something like that. Like, he started shooting on his property. That's a huge no-no. Some stupid shit. And so some guy said, which sounds very similar to what the police were doing. And so I said, say that again for the people in the back. That's all I said. You know, black folk. And then some guy goes in here and says, laugh my ass off. You have Biden Harris as your name. Your opinion means nothing. Voting for an old racist white man who wrote the 1994 crime bill that masked incarcerated black men and a black woman who refers to herself as a top cop. You absolute fool, useful idiot. And so he comes on and he says, you have a cartoon joke. This is the guy that
You responded to.
Yes. He said, you have a cartoon joker as your profile picture and retweet Ben Spirana. I don't know who that is. Standard case of the irrelevant, accusing others of being irrelevant.
Yeah.
He responded anyway. But my response was just so black. And I'm just going, I got to say it because I just did not have time today. My spirit was disturbed because my good girl did not get the justice she deserved. But I said, and I quote, actually, hold on. Look, they hiding my shit. I said, and this is a man, mind you, girl, your words mean nothing to me. I hope you feel better now that you've gotten it off your chest. Have a blessed day. No response. As I figured, I didn't have time to entertain that bullshit. You hiding behind this clip art. I don't have time for it.
People are so hateful.
They're so nasty. I'm like, get off my dick. Yes, I have Biden Harris 2020 in my profile because I want to see change and I know what's going to what needs to happen in order for it to happen.
It's just, I hate, and this, to tie it back in, this is why I say people just need to take a fucking step back sometimes and realize bigger picture.
Bigger picture, honey.
Because it's not about the nooks and crannies of what they did.
It's not.
It's
what the fuck are they currently doing?
Right. And we're not going to excuse it. I don't think anybody's excusing it. I think you're doing your job as a, if we want to use American, I don't even like saying American.
I know. You're exercising your First Amendment right.
You're doing what you have a right to do it. And honestly, that's what we needed because that's what holds politicians accountable for the shit that they do.
Yes.
But at the same time, if they're actively working against someone who is reversing the age of this fucking nation, that needs to happen. Mm-hmm. And people just need to step out of themselves for like 5 seconds to actually recognize the impact that it's having. And that's why I think the biggest thing for me with the religion segment is always having, you can believe what you believe in, but always having that approach of, let me take a step back, let me step out of this and see how it impacts people. In turn, especially, you live in a nation where race is a huge thing.
Right. Stop
ignoring it. I don't give a fuck what that pro-American doctrine says. Because the post that I was reading from, it says it actually, that whole ideology continues to manifest the race relation problems that we have in this country, because there's already so little about slavery and about what actually happened in our country's history that kids like continue to be brought up the same way. So when they actually get faced with certain things, and you have a cop that grows up religious background, conservative background, whatever it may be, and he ends up shooting somebody who doesn't need to be shot.
And they're being defended in the court and being, what's the word? Indicted? Indicted. Indicted with, warden, endangerment.
It's always about the bigger picture. And it's not even me as a black, it is me as a black man, but as someone with common sense, and I guess sense really ain't so common.
Hell no, common sense ain't common.
But if you just took a step back and realized and that's what
Yep.
Because personally, I don't really even pay attention to what the president does. I really could not give a fuck. It's about the reason why I know he does not need to be in office, and I've gathered this to myself, it's what you inspire the people around you to do. You inspire hate. You inspire racism. I don't give a fuck what you did or didn't say. I personally don't give a fuck. I give a fuck to some extent because you You say dumb shit on the regular.
His hair don't give a fuck either because it's not there.
But it's what you inspire around you. I can say, and it's only you, because every other president has inspired some type of bettering of this nation, and that's how we got to this fucking point in the first place.
Right.
You
To
were
a black
trying to
president.
reverse everything.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's intentional or not, and I don't think Trump has a fucking clue, to be honest with you. I think he just has a team around him who knows how to speak to him to get him to do what they want to do. And I really think it's Pence who's driving him in all the other shit. But that's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm. His hateful ass.
Yes.
He do look like a pinhead. Mm-hmm. Look just like
Pinhead Pence.
Look just like what's that boy Patrick from SpongeBob?
Pinhead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's about what you inspire the people around you to do.
Yes.
And people really need to recognize that, because do you really want to live in a place, exist in a space, be a part of a religion that constitutes all this stuff?
Right.
Because bringing it back to LGBTQ, because that's what we do,
Mm-hmm.
all the people who say, well, it's the word and I can't support it. All right.
Who wrote the word?
It's not even that. You not supporting it. Do you realize the damage that does for those people, your son, your husband, your wife?
Mm-hmm.
I don't support it. I can't support you. Get out my house.
Mm-hmm. They don't care. They're blind. They're literally blinded from. And I don't even like using the word doctrine, because when I pursue doctoral studies, that's not gonna be the settlement.
Yeah.
Hate is not gonna be the settlement. It's gonna be about coexisting.
Yeah.
And I strongly believe in that. I think you can believe in what fuck you want to believe in, but do not disrespect somebody else because you don't understand. It's not up for you to understand all the time. You probably don't understand how a black bean is made, but that ain't gonna stop you from eating it.
Right.
Hey, how the fuck this get here? I don't know, but I'm hungry. Like, stop being so damn, like, stop using something that was created out of love and out of human connection to just further those divides. Like, it's just, excuse me, it's not okay. And black folks shouldn't be doing it to other black folks, because this was the thing that the white folks was doing. Black people do a lot of things that white people do to us.
Yes.
And like, and we talked about it last episode, Christianity was forced on the black people, on black folk. If they wanted to be in these spaces, it was forced.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't allowed to worship and, you know, how they natively worship.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't allowed to bring those things. It was considered devil worship. And it was all because somebody didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't mean it wasn't valid. It was just they were at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that makes African Americans so novel compared to like Asian Americans, Latinx Americans. They weren't, not in the same way with what America is now. They weren't used the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Native Americans have it difficult too, because a lot of them literally identities completely stripped in order to survive, in order to assimilate to what white folks would do. Because white people were coming over here with their machetes and just going nuts in these people's homes.
Yeah.
And so, to bring it back to present day, I fucking hate that Breonna Taylor didn't get the justice that she deserved. Mm-hmm. But it's the same bullshit. It's the same rhetoric. A white man going into somebody's home and slaughtering them and getting away with it.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. And for people to turn around and do it to their own people and to hide behind religion when this same religion is telling you to love, that is fucked up. It's not okay.
Yeah.
But you know something? Carlton Taylor and Sean Brinkley in this bitch, and we about to ruffle some feathers, and people gonna be mad. People gonna be mad. But let me tell you something. I walk around this earth black as fuck every day with the same fear. I don't have a fear, actually. I'm gonna take that back. I walk around this earth black as fuck as a man every day. I could lose my life at any moment. I'm not gonna sit around and be fearful to voice my opinion when I feel like there's something that I can do to make things better. Jesus is not of hate. Period. And I think religion, I think something that's very streamlined in religion, especially when it comes to like Islam, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity. It's this underlining tone of connection and of love and of community. And it just baffles me that people just don't see that.
Yeah.
It's that bigger picture argument.
And you know what, Carlton? This is probably a period statement coming up.
Oop.
The same energy we have with Black lives, the same energy that we have for Black women. What justifies the detriment, the killing, the whatever it may be, regardless of your religious practice, of LGBTQ people? What warrants that? Because the word of God isn't suffering. The institution of Christianity, Islam, whatever it may be, that's not suffering. Because these people are existing. Those people are suffering. And that just needs to be point blank, period. What warrants the detriment of these people?
People being hateful and having hate in their heart. That is
Nothing.
the devil.
Nothing warrants it. Nothing warrants violence against women.
Right. You're
Nothing
correct.
warrants violence against people of color. Nothing warrants any type of discrimination, whatever it be. The same shit that we give the other shit, and this is really coming for the Black folks, does not warrant any of that shit. Every child deserves to be loved. Every child deserves to be raised properly, and given
Especially when you laid on your back to make the child.
right. And that's some bullshit. How you just getting fucked and
Or fucking
come out 9 months later? You got a whole baby,
a whole
baby that
a
you
whole
done
piece of life you just brought in.
pushed out your vagina, and 9 months earlier you done shot out your penis before it assimilated itself in your girl's vagina, and you gonna turn your back on it, on her, him, whatever, they.
And you got the nerve to walk away. This go for ancient daddies, deadbeats that walk away, leaving their wife to deal, not their wife or whoever to deal with whatever, leaving a woman to deal with whatever.
But you
people, I mean, women who just completely disown and will leave their child for a man, or it's just some craziness that
But
going on.
you have
honey.
a nerve to talk about somebody sinning
Oh,
and not belonging in the kingdom.
Sean, say that.
that don't even sit right in my spirit.
That's ghetto.
That how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah, it's not right.
And to take it personal, how dare you talk about God and justify the death of somebody else? God is life.
Yep, sure is.
And that's just point blank, period.
Big black dot.
He brought he brought people into the world for a reason. Everybody has a light to shine. Everybody has something to grab from somebody.
Yep.
And for you to make a conscious decision yourself, I don't give a fuck what book said or who says what. I personally don't care. But if you more like,
No, it's raggedy. And y'all, when I say ghetto, I don't mean to take a shot at the ghetto. I'm slick from the ghetto, but it's we use words to not use our words, and that's one of them. So I'm sorry if I offended, but No, it's absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. But for me, and I think I want us to start building this back up because I think it's very easy for people to be discouraged.
Yeah.
And I made a post yesterday on our Instagram about voting per National Voter Registration Day. And I was like, I know it's easy to get discouraged. I know you think people don't care. But there are a lot of people who do care who just don't really know where to meet certain people at. And I think the trend, I think people gravitate toward negativity. They gravitate toward being hurt and not necessarily feeling supported.
Yeah.
And I know anybody in my circle, same for you, Sean. I know people probably feel this way about you, but you're always supported as a person. If you have problems, if you say something problematic, I hope that I'm in the space to be able to say, hey, this is problematic, and I'm saying this because I love you, not because I don't like you anymore because you said something problematic. But I think we need to really take time to educate one another and to be willing to listen and to just allow us to be fucking human. I think that's the biggest thing, and I think that's why I love the fact that we have this podcast and we can sit down and we can have human conversations, and it's raw and we cuss and we're not politically correct because we're trying to really just, get these feelings out there, these ideas out there, so that people, somebody at home sitting down can be like, damn it, they're right, or damn it, let's have a conversation. Because I ain't saying we always right, but at the same time, I think with this shit, it don't cost you nothing to be a decent person.
It doesn't.
You cannot agree with somebody to the moon, Pluto, and back. But it don't cost you shit to not disrespect that person for simply doing something that they couldn't control. Can't nobody help the fact that they're here. Like I said, somebody laid on their back. Somebody got nutted in. Something happened. That was very vulgar. Sorry. That wasn't on brand for me. Something happens. Sex happened. You got here. Or unless you per the boys and you got here because of compound V and you was genetically engineered, which is probably going to be a thing soon. But anyway, you didn't ask to be here. But you got a brain to think for yourself. And here's another thing, kind of another angle, and then we can go about lightening it up. But this is something I like to live by. You are not responsible for your trauma, but you're responsible for how you deal with it. So just because you had some fucked up ass experience happen to you or something happened and Bible beat you or whatever the case was, doesn't mean that you have to do that because that's what you know and that's what happened to you. You can think through your trauma and figure out ways to be a better person without making other people feel like shit.
Yeah.
Because Sean and I both done been through some shit and we don't do nothing but spread love. And if you don't get love from us, you deserve it. It's always going to be an underlining tone of love. Even if we don't deal with your ass, it's because we love you. And if we deal with you, your life is going to be hell. My life is going to be hell. So I love you. I'm going to keep my distance. Period. Everybody that I've cut off, I still got mad love for the motherfuckers. But I'm not going to deal with you now in this lifetime. Maybe when I'm reincarnated to be like a roach and I end up in your house or some shit.
Oh, my goodness.
Trying to dodge your broom. But, anyway. Look, I'm over here talking about being Christian. I'm jumping into Hinduism.
Right.
But that's cool. That's coexisting. Honey, just be a decent fucking person. Don't be shit. And don't blame your child for being gay, because that's the dumbest fucking shit. That shit's so dumb. And white people, don't adopt a black baby and then treat them different because they black. Adopt a black baby and treat them different because they black. That's raggedy. Just leave the baby let a gorgeous black family adopt that damn baby. I ain't got time for the bullshit. I honestly and truly don't. Do yourself a service. Do you and your offspring a service. And before y'all lay on y'all backs and have sex, do some work on yourself.
Please.
Make sure that you are ready. Make sure, and even if you're not ready, you got 9 months to get ready, bitch. Like, you get it together,
I'm
honey.
about to tweet that. If you're not ready to love your child through anything, you're not ready to be a parent.
Period. And don't say, well, Jesus said that. No, he didn't. Go and read your NIV, New International Version, your King James Version, and read what's in red. He ain't spew no crazy shit like that, and you
I'm
know
about
he
to
didn't.
tweet that.
Periana, honey.
I'm about
Tweet
to
it.
tweet- I'm about
Let
to
the
tweet
world
that.
see it, honey.
Cause that's a word right there.
And even if they don't, and I know this because I work in marketing, even if they don't retweet it and like it, it's some impressions, honey. Did they see it? Did it pop up on their timeline? What was the reach, honey? They could read it and it's just going to internalize. Because that's another thing. I'm going off on a lot of tangents today. This is just how I'm feeling. Honey, what time is it? Okay, we got to wrap up soon.
Yeah, we pushing.
Sorry, y'all. I'm a preacher's kid, so I've had a lot of time to just marinate on all this shit. You know what, bitch? I forgot what I was about to say. So we gonna wrap this whole up.
Wrap it up.
Cause I forgot.
Because we
If I remember, I'll tell y'all later.
we are pushing. We are like a fat man on the toilet trying to push out a kidney stone. Just
Not a kidney stone. Jesus Christ.
yeah.
All right, babies. Well, y'all be blessed and highly favored.
Yeah, amen. On the high
That was
note.
so on brand. Click, click. Anyway, always feel free to join the conversation. Follow us on @BGO_pod. I feel like I haven't said that in other episodes, but whatever. Y'all do it. See y'all later. Bye.